not. Have any duplicates? Yeah. It's like, a lot of people when I'm telling them that I'm playing Warcraft 3 is like, oh yeah, really? It's like, well yeah, but only custom maps. And they're like, what the hell are custom maps? I don't even know what that is. It's like, dude, it's like more fun that you will ever have in any RTS, really. Kind of want to sell grapes, but so far. And this is pretty much what I've been dabbling on for the most of my gaming time right now. I mean, Warzone, it doesn't play bad really, but somehow it doesn't click for me. I still enjoy PUBG more than Warzone, even though I played a heck of a load more Call of Duty in my entire life, pretty much. I don't know. Maybe just me. Ultimately, I had a lot more fun in PUBG than in Warzone. It's probably because Warzone feels like Call of Duty, so it feels like not really adrenaline pumping, if that makes any sense. PUBG sometimes really gets on your ass. Whereas Warzone just, I don't know, never did that for me. I don't know if that makes any sense when I'm dabbling here. But yeah. So, I mean, I get it. A lot of people hate on it because Blizzard kind of like blew it completely out of the water with how shit they made the Reforged version, right? So it gets a lot of hate, and rightfully so. Like, yeah, I wouldn't buy it either, really. I mean, I bought it because I knew I'm going to be playing custom maps, and my girlfriend enjoys playing custom maps, so I knew I'm going to buy it eventually anyway. I mean, I could have saved one version because I still have the old one, so technically we could play together like this. I was like, ah, you're going to be playing this game, so might as well, you know, spend the money on it. But I understand people not wanting to spend money on it. Like, I absolutely understand this. With the shit show Blizzard did there, like, why would you do this, right? I mean, I didn't pre-order it because I expected things to go wrong. Just not that much wrong. So, yeah. I don't blame anybody for not playing the game or not buying it. I knew what I was getting into because I only wanted to play fun maps. The only thing that kind of bugs me is that people can still leave in the Battle.net, which is, I don't know. It's a bit of a shame, really. They could have done a lot of things good here, I think. But for some reason, they just not only did they screw over so many people that were loyal to the franchise to begin with, but like they did like a complete 180 on people and were like, screw you guys, we'll take your money, but we're gonna be giving like absolute shit. Like what? So it's like nobody really understands why they did that. I don't even know until this day why they actually did make such a shit show out of this. Because they didn't have to. Sure, they delayed it, which I never expected them not to delay it, because which launch doesn't really get delayed? Or if it doesn't get delayed, it gets fucked up. I mean, look at Wolcen, they screwed up quite a lot. I think right now 800 people are playing it, so it's essentially dead, which is a shame, because I think it had a lot of potential. Look at Last Oasis. Like, I wasn't really gonna play Last Oasis because this is one of the games where you gotta invest some time into. But, I mean, at least the devs reacted in a good way. Sorta. They did the same problem or thing wrong, I guess, like the Wolcen devs, that they didn't really communicate for like 3 days, which is really shit, I think. This is the first thing that you kind of need to let your customers know, like, okay, things went down the wrong way, but yeah, really. They only had to do 2 things, like update graphics and improve the engine so it doesn't, like, you don't start dropping frames left and right. And the other thing they should have done is like fix or change the Battle.net so that you kind of like have an account track of people leaving or stuff like this. But like, not only did they not do that, they just messed up in pretty much every other area. It's like, I don't understand. I really don't understand why they did it. Yeah. Not sure if there even is a reason besides any economical factors that Blizzard isn't really Blizzard anymore, so I don't know. Well, I mean, that goes pretty much for any RTS game, really. Like, I mean, there are some variations or games where you don't really need to have like Korean levels of APM. When I think about like, well, Dawn of War still is kind of click heavy. Company of Heroes, for example, wasn't as bad. It was unbalanced as heck. Like, I don't really recommend anybody to play the game because it's unbalanced, like seriously unbalanced. But it wasn't as APM heavy. But I get the point. Some games are just they're just not for everybody, really. It was just never really something I got myself into. Like learning everything, like playing all the races or factions or whatever you want to call it, depending on the RTS you're playing, really. It was just never really a thing for me. I played it here and there. I play it on some LAN parties. I still play some RTSs, but more like I'm sitting back, like getting in a comfortable position, clicking a bit, and that's it. I mean, the only two things I was only ever good at were FPS games, but I'm really terrible at FPS these days. I mean, you saw how I play Call of Duty and PUBG. Is like, I'm not really good at FPS right now. Mainly because I haven't played one in ages, so I really just gotta sit there and play, and play, and play, and play, and then I might actually get somewhat reasonably good, maybe. And the other thing is, I guess, not any, but a bunch of RPGs or MMORPGs, I did reasonably well there. The old one, like if you don't own Reforged, you can still play it with your old version. Some models just don't have the assets. I'm not entirely sure what their goal is or what they try to achieve, really. If they ran out of money or something, I don't know. It's really weird because a friend of mine who doesn't have Reforged but the old one plays with me sometimes or watches me on stream. He was like, what kind of unit is that? It looks different. It's like, what do you mean it looks different? And then he was like, yeah, that mod looks different for me. It's like, wait, what? And then I kind of realized that he's playing not the Reforged version, but the old one with a Reforged upgrade, whatever you want to call it. So stuff looks different. Just extremely weird, but for some reason Blizzard thought it's a good idea to do it that way. I don't really know. I don't think there's any reason behind it, or at least not any sane reason. Only some economical reasons, at least I can think of. I don't know, I think it doesn't make sense, honestly. Well, the main problem is Blizzard is not really Blizzard, right? It's Activision these days. And for some reason they think like this was almost impossible to mess up, right? They have a franchise a lot of people love, but for some reason they just took it and trashed it like really hard. I don't know why. Like, I seriously don't know why. Yeah, like seriously. It's a shame though, really. Because I was looking forward to it so damn much. I think a lot of people were. But it's just like, as I said, I don't understand. I think it's dumb as heck that they did that. Like seriously, it was such, like they could have made, like so many people wanted to play the game. There could have been tournaments. I mean, there are tournaments, but like they're plagued with disconnects and other stuff. Like when I saw some of the feedback, or like in one of the tournaments, I think the game like desynced 3 times in a row. It's like literally out of nowhere. And like if you're like a pro gamer in that game, and they essentially take your livelihood and just throw it out of the window, it's like, what? So yeah, I don't know. That would really piss me off. But hey, luckily it isn't my livelihood, so. Age of Wonders 3. I think it was for free on Humble Bundle, if I'm not mistaken. But I never played that game, so I don't really know what it is about. But yeah, this was like literally the only game I was looking forward to this year. Well, technically last year, but last year when they announced it that it's going to be released either before or latest at the 31st of December, I was like, you're going to be seeing that they will delay it, right? There's no way they can hold it, and they didn't hold it, right? So I was not really expecting anything else there. I just expected it to be at least somewhat decent and not this garbage it essentially is, sadly.